Good morning, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. I thank you for joining us today. This is Big Money Manny at the Big Money Manny channel. Excited to be back. Took a couple of days off. Had a lot to deal with, but I'm grateful to come back and finish off our chapter 4. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope everybody's blessed. There's a lot going on our side, but we are grateful for every day. And I thank the Lord for blessing us with everything that we have. And I pray that you're doing well. There's a lot of people going through some stuff out there today. Just know that there's a great God above you who will not let you down. So thank you for being here today. This is the Big Money Manny channel. Welcome. Thanks for being back here. We are going to finish off our chapter 4, Fix the Leaks. This is a book club. If this is your first time here, we're here to read and get better, work on ourselves, and just address a few, anything that comes across our path here today. We might talk about current events and relate them to what's going on in our book. But the purpose here is to get better. This is a self-improvement channel. It's all about learning more, and the main source will be the books that we read, and I'll throw a couple nuggets in as we go along. If you follow the channel, if you've watched my videos before, I'll cover one chapter or part of the chapter in this video, and we'll also talk about some things that are going on today. But if you're new here, please like, share, subscribe, support the channel. This is at Big Money Manny on Instagram, on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and we're now even going into the Anchor podcast channel. So check me out at podcast.fm/David-Manny. The links are in the description here if you're watching on YouTube, also on Facebook. If you're on Twitter, hit me up. You can find most of everything I have is at Big Money Manny, or you can search my name. All right, today we're continuing the book Man Up by Bezos Kulian, and chapter 4, Fix the Leaks. So he's covered a lot of great stuff here in this chapter, and he's a very, very tough leader. Okay, one thing you got to know about this channel is that we are going to be we're not going to sugarcoat a whole lot at all. So if that's the kind of fluff you're looking for, this is not the channel. It is about getting better. It is about pushing people up. It is about helping you to elevate, get to the next level. But by taking shortcuts, that's just not going to happen here in this channel. And I'm not here to help you hack anything. I'm here to teach you how to be more efficient, as I am learning myself. And here's the thing. There's something I got to address, and I'm gonna just, if I can be real with you, if I can level with you. Because moving on, and I understand this is going to be part of the growing in this channel. This channel is something new to me. I was not taught how to do any of this stuff. I'm learning as I go, and you can figure out. See, like how there's a commercial playing right now. You'll see that there's going to be a lot of bumps in the road as we grow this channel, like any other channel on YouTube or Facebook or any other podcaster out there. Some of them may have gone through some training and figured out how to get it all done super early. They know how to put all these graphics up and everything like that, the music in the background. Some of them have mentors. They work for companies. Some of them are on their own, but they were formerly involved with professional companies to do this kind of stuff. And if you follow my channel, you'll see that the reason why I have this channel is because I felt like there was a voice in me that needed to be broadcasted. And so here I am. Okay, and so along the way, part of the, as I'm learning this social media thing, it's pretty much putting yourself out there. And when you put yourself out there, you will face scrutiny. You will face criticisms. You will face people lashing out at you. You know, I have people that I follow who don't have big channels, but are already receiving death threats simply because they have an opinion. And here's the thing: part of the reason why we have this podcast is because I want to prove a point, and that is that there are people that are conditioned to believing in certain values and conditioned in believing that life has to be of a certain way, when really each of you and I, we all have our freedoms to do and say as we please, as long as it's legal, as long as it doesn't physically hurt anybody. You know, you should be free to state your opinion. You should be free to speak freely. I mean, I live in America. I don't know where you live, but part of putting yourself out there as a podcaster, as an influencer, I'm learning is that people will feel that you have to speak, but within the guidelines. You know, it's like an example someone gave me. I don't know the terms. I can't remember the terms he gave me, but there were words that he was trying to break down for me in a way that I could understand. And he said, you know, your vehicle can drive towards any degree to the left, or you could turn any degree to the right, but you're supposed to drive within the guidelines of the lines that are painted on the road and follow the road. You can't just drive on to people's lawns just because you're physically able to. You got to follow the road, and your car should follow certain guidelines. And he said you have to be of the same way. You can't just go all willy-nilly all over the place. But when it comes to speech, that's just one thing I feel that and let me even put it at the lowest level of harshness, fierceness. There's just some people out there that just can't take a person's honest word, and they get triggered. And by all means, go ahead. You know what I mean? Go ahead. But to tell somebody that they're a hypocrite or that they're telling on themselves for simply having a harsh opinion. And let me just keep it at athleticism. Let me just talk about sports for a minute. Right now, you know, I'm super pumped up about the Olympics. The Olympics, I mean, a lot of people are saying it's a little underwhelming. I mean, but they don't have a fan base there, so I don't know what you expect. But you still see these athletes giving it their all, and they're hyped up. It's really intense. I got caught up in watching it for a minute today, and it was quite inspiring to see athletes on that level, you know, that they trained their whole lives to get there, and here they are, and just the look on their faces, the grunts that they're making as they're making their pass or making, you know, their effort to achieve that ultimate goal of a gold medal all before the world. I mean, it's just an amazing thing. It's amazing to see, you know, especially the high jump today. I was really touched by the high jump tie gold medal between Italy and Qatar, man. You know, big ups to you, to the gentlemen who participated in that, to all the athletes. Shout out to New Zealand for the gold in the sevens rugby. It was awesome to see them do the haka today on TV. You know, that's pretty cool. You know, I wish them Samoan men were there. You know, that could have been gold for Samoa, but yeah, circumstances. But anyways, you know, part of being an elite athlete like that, you have to have a coach. I was watching the only silver medal that Samoa ever got was from that weightlifter, and I was watching a video of her Onge, you know, do her runs or her reps. I don't know what you call her sets on TV back in Beijing, and I was watching her coach with her, coaching or pushing her as she walked to the stage every time. I was like, "Are you going to do this or what? Huh? Are you going to do this?" And I feel bad for her. She's this short woman, and here he is, like slapping her in the back, like, "Come on, you're going to do this." And it was a little intense, but I love that because I have a coach myself in business, and I appreciate everything he does for me, everything he tells me, all the conversations I can have with him so I can get better. I'm appreciative of it because it's helped me to grow in a major way, and it's helped me to develop. And I'm definitely not the same person that I used to be when I first started business, and that's all credit to my coaches. And I thank God for the people that He put in my life to help me get better. And the reason why I'm talking about this, and I want to do a quick review of the last video that we recorded, the last session we have, finishing off chapter 4. Before we get into these exercises, and we'll finish off with the exercises today. Chapter 5 we'll start tomorrow, and it seems like it's a little shorter than 4. Sorry, my foot's hurting right now. But to have someone criticize, let me talk about criticism, okay? Because there's a lot of people that are stuck when it comes to criticism, and they call it hating. And when to the immature mind, there's a fine line between being a hater and being a critic. And the more you develop, the more you develop yourself, the more you realize that fine line between criticism and being a hater. The more experienced you are, the more you realize that thin line is not so much a thin line, but a major barrier between the two, of being a hater and a critic. And when you gain that maturity, that thin line turns into a major barrier, and you will easily be able to distinguish between what's being a hater and what's being a critic. Right? And then let me tell you, when it comes to sports, doesn't matter what team out there, there will always be a critic to that team. As much as Kobe Bryant was loved, and the Lakers, the purple and gold, as much as they are loved, there are also people who will criticize them. And all those thoughts, all those beliefs are all valid, because each one has a point of view. And when we covering chapter 4 the other day, I admit I was a bit tired. That's why I hate doing podcasts at 2 or 3 in the morning. I was a bit tired, but I was looking over it, and you can get the live version on YouTube or Facebook. I'm starting to do shorts of each chapter as well. I'll repost them as shorts. I haven't done that one yet, but listening over it earlier, I really wished I had touched on some points that would make things more clear. That there's a difference between criticizing someone and being a hater. And if you criticize, no matter how harsh your language is, that doesn't mean you necessarily hate on somebody. Being a hater is straight up not recognizing anyone for anything at all with the deepest intent. Like, you purposely did not give someone credit because there's something else besides their athletic feat that would, that's persuaded you to think otherwise of them, besides what they are, they actually present to their respected sport, to the respected subject, to the, to wherever they're at. If someone was succeeding in writing a book and you judged him negatively based on matters that had nothing to do with him writing that book, then you are a hater. If someone got a world record for whatever feat, I don't know, riding a bike or, boxing or whatever he was competing in, if someone got the world record and you still judged his athletic ability in a negative way because of something else that has absolutely nothing to do with his feats in here in his athleticism with boxing or whatever it is, then you are a hater. So that's what being a hater is. If I hate on somebody, and my speech towards them is negative, and it's because of something just out of the bounds, something out of the blue that had nothing to do with the subject here at hand, then yes, I'm being a hater. But if I critique somebody on their ability, and it's just based on my perception on that person's performance, that is a critique. That is a critique. And you can't get mad at anybody for critiquing on somebody else. You can't get mad at anybody for critiquing on somebody else. You know, it's just it doesn't make any sense at all. It doesn't make any sense at all to get mad at somebody for having an opinion. And I've experienced this. I've experienced this a couple days ago, and I chose to ignore it. As much as I wanted to respond to this person, I chose to ignore it. And my training has taught me to ignore it. And my training has taught me to not be responsive to this person. And, as much as I wanted to, because I do care, as much as I wanted to respond, I just couldn't. My training taught me not to be reactive. And this was covered a couple chapters ago, as far as, being, what's the word, resilient with your emotions. You got to be resilient. You got to be resilient with your emotions. You can't be reactive to where when people make a statement, or people treat you a certain way, or say something to you, you can't instantly react to that person, because nobody should act based on their emotions at the time, especially if it's heated. You got to calm down and make a rational decision and respond. There's a difference between reacting and responding, and that's something I learned in business. Responding and reacting are two different things. Okay, reacting is something that a poor person does. Okay, reacting is something that a weak person does. A person who doesn't have any control over their emotions. They allow other people to steer them by steering their emotional wheel. Right? But a rich person who's in tune with themselves and in tune with his feelings and is in control of their emotions, they will not react, but respond. Responding is sort of like reacting, but responding is done with a lot more judgment, is done with a lot more power, with a lot more authority. It's done with a lot more thought behind it, and is more controlled. It is actually steered, right? You're in full control when you respond. And so this person stated something, reacted to my opinion, reacted to my critique, and they were not happy with my critique. And there were some words that were thrown out there that kind of hurt me a little deeply, but thank God I'm a very tough-skinned person, to where I understand the factors that are at work here, and I know that they're just reacting to something I say or the way that I said it. And I understand there's got to be responsibility with their words, but when it comes to this world that we live in today, if I may address it for a moment, let me just say that there are too many pansified men out there, pussies, who cannot deal with someone who is firm in their tone and very direct. And I'm getting so tired of it. It is so frustrated. Let me tell you something. I mean, and if I may rant on business for just a moment, let me just say, if there are any Polynesians who are watching this right now, can y'all please help me to prove that Polynesians can be successful in business? Because one thing about business, and I learned this from my coach, is that it exposes people. And so far, most of the Polynesians, damn near all of them, are not people of their word. They say they want to grow big in a business, but they don't have the integrity And it is so frustrating. And I'm just praying for my Polynesian people to wake up and really strive in that area. We're great at being athletes. We're great at going to church. We're great at knowing the Bible, and we're awesome when it comes to tradition. But can we run a business? Can we be business minded? And then let me tell you, if there's something else, if there's someone out there who, there's some train of thoughts out there, there's people that have a different perception that say, oh, well, business people are evil. Let me just say, you're just ignorant. I have a few other words that I would love to say, but I'm not going to react that way. I think business just might be too tough for Polynesians. And there are a few that they'll talk a good talk and they come into business, but then I see them fade away because they can't handle the toughness. And I look at the world today and I say, well, no wonder. People are not made tough anymore. I don't understand. We cover this. Let me just go over a couple of things. Chapter 4 is Fix the Leaks. And let me just bring up some of the highlights from the last chapter. Oscar Wilde said once, the only difference between the saint and the sinner is that every saint has a past and every sinner has a future, and he's right. All right. And so he's saying that what he's pointing out here is that nobody is perfect. And if you follow my channel before you decide to scrutinize me, do understand that I fully recognize that I am not a perfect person. Even though I'm here I have a channel that is focused on self-development, I'm not a perfect person, and I never claim to be. And just because I bring up, some fancy words that I read in a book, do not confuse me for feeling that I'm better than anybody else out there. I am definitely not. There's a lot of people who are way better than me. My point is that I'm here to improve myself, and I want to help others do the same so that they don't stay stagnant in the level that they're at, and so that they don't follow the same path that the generations of them before them have taken. I wish to show people there's a better path out there, and that Samoans and other Polynesians and anybody who comes from a level of poverty that I have, that you can make something of yourself, and you can work hard on yourself and present yourself to the world to be something bigger and greater than anybody else that has ever come out of your neighborhood. Okay? Just know that, all of our shit stinks. We all have vices and faults. We all have things wrong with us. We all have bad habits. We all have things that weaken us. We all have weaknesses. Nobody here is perfect. And what Oscar Wilde said is that the only difference between the sinner and the saint is that the saint had a past and the sinner has a future. Meaning we've all gone through our hardships. We've all gone through our, trudging in the mud. The saint has only gone past it. He's got that, that's in his past. And the sinner, that might be his present right now, or that might be his future right now. And he's saying, there's no difference. He said, but it's important to identify these differences before you can correct them. You've got to take an honest stock of the places that you're falling down. So we got to be honest with ourselves and be able to recognize these things, as this part of the chapter is called seeing the weak spots, right? And sometimes it takes someone to critique you, a coach maybe, or a mentor. And he says right here, this is a conversation between Bedros and one of his top guys, and he just straight up said, Byron, you're a bad leader. You have great qualities, but right now you're not living up to them. You're a hypocrite. And it's harsh, but it takes a coach to really call someone else that, call someone else on that. And I was called this just not too long ago. If you're paying attention to what I was saying, and someone was calling me a hypocrite. And, to each their own, everybody has an opinion, but then again, everybody has their opinion. All right. So we're both seated at different sides of the table, same table though. All right. So he says that as a coach, he recognized that this person, Byron, was hooked on excuses, and he kept saying, yes, I'm eating well, but it's because I'm working I'm not eating well, but it's because I'm working too much. Yes, I'm not able to get the business back on track, but it's because he said he was addicted to excuses, and pointing it out was the first step for him to break that habit. So we got to point out what's wrong with us, and we got to point out what's wrong with others, especially if you are in the position. All right, but don't be an enemy. You got to come at somebody the proper way. Waldo, not saying that you don't have to be harsh with your speech. Just don't. If you don't have a relationship with somebody and you just come up and start critiquing like that, you could. It depends on the situation, really. All right. And so Ralph Waldo Emerson says, "Who you are speaks so loudly I can hardly hear what you say." It's funny that this person that critiques me and my critique of someone else, also has major issues. And the issues are so great, and this is so true what Ralph Waldo Emerson is saying, because the issues of this person are so big, and I just don't think that he sees it. And the reason why I'm non-reactive to those critiques is because I understand the things that they go through. So hypocrisy is the fastest way to erode your trust and leadership abilities. The only way to lead is to lead from the front. But if you're going to grow, if you're growth minded and you know how to put your ego on check, then it could be the start of something new and something incredible. And honesty about yourself before all else. This is something that really frustrates me about the world today. Is there's a lot of people that just we're living in a culture now where you can't be honest with somebody. You can't be honest, and it's bullshit. It is so stupid. I don't know what kind of world they think they're going to develop. But I can easily see that world is going to be a very weak and shallow world. What kind of world would there be if there was no critique? If you couldn't be honest with people, if you couldn't judge someone's ability, what kind of world would we have? We'd have awards for participation. We'd have just sugar-coated everything. And I don't believe I want to live in that kind of world. We got to be real with each other. We got to tell each other the truth. If you think someone sucks, as something, then you should have every right to say that. And that person needs to hear you tell them that so that they can work on their stuff and get better. We need honesty. Yes, you got to be honest about yourself. But you got to be honest about others too. Right? It's okay to I think it's okay to identify when someone is doing something the wrong way. It helps them to get better. It shows that you give a damn. Even if you didn't like the person, it would still help them get better. I'm looking at the Olympics today, and I think about that tranny in Australia that's taking all the gold medals out of the women's competitions. And I'm wondering if someone's ever going to be honest enough to take that person out of that competition. But look at the world we live in today, right? This is above all, don't lie to yourself. The man who lies to himself and listens to his own lie comes to the point where he cannot distinguish the truth within him or around him, and so loses all respect for himself and for others, and having no respect ceases to love. This is from a awesome gentleman, Russian master Fyodor Dostoevsky. What an awesome quote. You got to rewind the video, watch that again. That's an awesome quote. And so I'm asking you to be brutally honest and fully transparent with yourself, or to find people who will be that honest with you. You need feedback, guys. Feedback helps you get better. Feedback is the food of constant evolution and improvement. All right, that's awesome. This started with a deep assessment of his self-esteem. When he told his guy Bedros, when he told his guy that he was messing up, it helped him to assess his self-esteem. How do you feel about your self-worth and his self-image? How do you think others see you? And it says that Byron changed. He fixed it all, and he is proof that changes in business culture and expectations start at the top. All right, and most of us were raised to be polite. There it is. Most of us were raised to be polite, not to be what people see as aggressive, but it really is just being assertive. We're trained to be polite. This is the culture that we've received. This is the culture that we were taught, right? And that's why I made that one rant video a long time ago to saying that culture, tradition will keep you from success. It'll deter you from success. Most of us are raised to be polite, often making us apprehensive about clearly communicating how we feel, especially when it comes to expressing negative feedback. Let me just talk about my brother. My brother got mad that I said something about a wrestler and said that wrestler, I said he's gay. He said, what do you mean, homosexual? I said, no. I said, he's whack. Can't wrestle for shit. And my brother didn't like that. But again, we were raised to be polite, often making us apprehensive about clearly communicating how we feel, especially when it comes to expressing negative feedback. I mean, that just explains that situation right there. So I just want to do that quick recap of the last chapter because there were so many powerful points, and because of what happened to me in real life, I wanted to cover that again to reiterate these powerful points of that chapter, and that finishes off that chapter. And let's go over the exercises, guys. There's always exercises at the end of the book, and I'm gonna fly through them. All right, so leaders take responsibility. All right, so let me see what he says here. Leaders take responsibility. Now, think back to your last failure. I want you to rewrite that story of your last failure and how it happened. Only this time, I want you to take full responsibility over everything that went wrong as you tell the story. Take every single moment and turn it back on yourself. Rewrite that narrative. Now, after you rewrite that, take a look. What does it tell you about your leadership? Take every single moment and turn it back on yourself. Rewrite that narrative. Take a look. What does that tell you about your leadership? How does it feel to have all the control in your hands? That is huge. So you're pretty much reliving a moment in our lives when we failed, or we did something wrong. And what the book is saying here is, now this time you're going to rewrite that story. How would you have reacted better? How would you react better knowing the outcome of that story, in the original past that we had at it, right? But if we were to take responsibility and react better with more sound judgment, and now look at the story with that new narrative, what does that tell you about your leadership, and how does it feel to have full control over in your hands? That's awesome. So it's basically an exercise, and I suggest you pause and do it. But basically what this exercise is doing is teaching you the power that you really have at your hands at all times, live, so that the next time you encounter a situation, you will respond the right way, because now you have already learned from your past mistake, and you've realized that if I just take the full responsibility as a leader and I react the right way to where I am responding now as a leader, how does it feel to have full control in your hands? That's how I answer that question. How does it feel? It feels great. It feels like I'm taking charge. It feels like I'm being more responsible. I'm in control of the moment. That's how that works out. Awesome little exercise. Next one. Leaders keep the garbage out. Now, Benjamin Julian is really changing my mind about how I need to sleep and how I need to wake up in the morning. And I'm already breaking his rules, but I got to work on that, and I will fix it. It's just, in order for me to record these videos, I can only get to work like as I do late in the night or early in the mornings, but I got to find some better time. Maybe I'll move everything, the studio to my office, and we'll do it from there. But we got to figure it out. All right. And so He's big on mornings, guys. And so he says, I don't check emails or texts or take calls or surf social media in the morning. Anyone who does this is wasting time and is going to cost them dearly in the near future. The mornings are my GSD time, the get shit done time. This is when I go to work on my business and I focus on the things that will help move the needle. When I'm doing important work, I put my phone on silent, I flip it over, screen side down, put it, some of you guys can't even do that, push it more than an arm's length away from me. And that's huge. This may sound excessive to you, but for me, it's all about protecting my magic time in the mornings and focusing on getting shit done. I don't want to be tempted by sounds and notifications on flashing screens, so I take every precaution it takes to kill the temptation. Disciplined leaders have guardrails. Now, these are all things that he's doing to keep himself, just how we talked about the lines that are painted on the road to keep yourself on track so you're not just driving all willy-nilly and landing on the sidewalk in people's yards and in people's living rooms. You got to drive along the guidelines. And it says, disciplined leaders have guardrails like these in place all the time. When I have my computer open and I'm working, I have my emails closed, my volume on mute, and social media closed. I'm not here to build Mark Zuckerberg's business. I'm here to build mine. Good leaders are careful about tilling their mental gardens. They are careful about the information, distractions, and the noise that they let into their lives. Hello. You need to do the same thing. So, again, let me cover that. They're careful about their mental gardens, what's growing in their minds. I love that visual, right? So they are careful about the information, the distractions, the noise that they let into their lives. If you want to get to the next level, guys, you've got to maintain what's going in and out of your head, what's feeding your brain. Everything you watch on TV, on Netflix, on social media, on your phone, on your tablet, your laptop, whatever you're watching it on, all the devices are pretty much different versions of a TV. Let me tell you, they are all changing your mind. They're all working on your mindset. Your mental garden has to be tilled and pruned properly. It has to be maintained. It has to be careful. It has to be carefully nurtured, watered, and fed. You've got to feed your mind the right stuff. So you got to be careful about the information that enters into your mind by way of your ears. Sorry, that's my eye. Your eyes and your ears. Your eyes and your ears are the gateways to your mindset. And believe me, television and distractions are all entering in them, at different speeds, but they are definitely focused on getting into your mindset and messing with that mental garden. You've got to guard your mind, guard your heart. You got to be that bouncer that keeps bad information out. Keeps bad information and distractions and noise from getting into your life. All right. And here's 3 different ways that he gives us so that we can be that guard. Right. Number 1, turn off the notifications on your phone for the day. Right. So turn off the notifications on your phone for one day. I don't mean I don't know how I could do that with a business, but for you, I don't mean turn off your phone, just the notifications. How did it feel? How did it go? How much more time did you have to focus on your stuff? That's awesome. So I get it now. I can't have it like that with my business. That means if I'm not going to know the text messages again unless I purposely go and check on those text messages. I'm not going to know who's retweeting my stuff or commenting on my stuff on Twitter unless I purposely go to Twitter, right? And so I'm saving time, because what happens is your notification causes you to go here, there, left and right, up and down. You go from different apps, right? You go from app to app to app because of the notifications, and you lose track of time and focus on what you were supposed to do. Right, so how did it feel? How did it go? How much more time did you have to focus on your stuff? So we're still going to be covering social media stuff. We're still going to be checking on our platforms, except we're going to do it with a lot more purpose and a lot more, what's the word? Intentions. You'll be really intentional about where you go on your phone. Number 2, install an app like Rescue Time. and do a quick scan of where your online time is spent. Where are you wasting your precious hours? You'll be surprised to discover how much your device robs both your business and productivity and your family of meaningful time with you. So Rescue Time, got to check out that app. Apparently it's a time management app, or maybe screen time management app. And number 3, at the end of the day, I just lost my voice. At the end of the day, look at your to-do list and your schedule. Apologize about that. At the end of the day, the last method he gives us to guarding our mental gardens. At the end of the day, look at your to-do list and your schedule. Did you get things done today? Did your time actually match up with the things that you needed to get done? If not, what do you need to do to prevent time theft tomorrow? Awesome. So battling time theft. So we got to check out this app, Rescue Time, and see how much more production you can get from managing your screen time. And it really does help, man. When you get a report like that, just getting a report of where you're spending your time on your phone and on your device, which is taking up a lot more of your time than you think, guys. So time management, this is a reoccurring theme. We're here on this book and on our last book. Managing our time, guys, is so important because you don't get any of that back. And if you don't spend time, if you're not spending time working on yourself, let me tell you, man, you're wasting a lot of time. You're wasting a lot of time because there's only certain, you only get a little bit of time here on this earth, and I pray that you're doing it to do something, you're using it to do something productive, and that you're spending it with the right people, that you're spending it doing something that's going to last and even outlast you, so that when you're no longer here, whatever that project you are working on will still bring in the bread for your family, and will still continue to support people when you're no longer here. One of my goals for this podcast one of my purposes of this podcast is to document me and my thoughts and my voice. I know that I won't be here forever. And my biggest regret in my life is not spending enough time with my father. I think I still take his death hard because when he died, I wasn't there. When he died, I was in church, and my brother told me that he had carried him to his car that morning and took him to the hospital. And I just wasn't. I wish I could have been by his side when he left. That's my biggest regret. And so I try to, I think about the conversations I had with him, and I wish I could hear I hear his voice in my head, but he was big on recording church services. And he had recordings of my grandfather who preached. And one of the things that I wish I could still have were those tapes of our family being together, tapes of my grandfather preaching, and my dad on his little adventures with his family. So that's part of the reason why I put myself out there, so that when I'm no longer here, my kids can always come here and get a little bit of wisdom from their dad, Big Money Manny. Anyways, guys, whatever you want to do, man, I just pray you do it before your time is up. if it's doing something different like this, something like a podcast, man, or just a video log, whatever it is, man, this is an awesome era that we live in. Sharing yourself, sharing who you are, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, and to my brother Christian, if you're watching, man, I love you, brother. Seriously, no hard feelings at all. I'm just grateful for every moment I have. And I didn't think I was going to be giving a little speech right here at the end of my video, but the music kind of had me going. Anyways, shout out to Mr. Snooze in the background music, man. Awesome stuff. Go ahead and subscribe to that guy, Mr. Snooze. Is providing our copyright-free music right here. Love it. I could just talk forever now. Anyways, shout out to Jason Inez. Shout out to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. If you don't know who he is, man, y'all gotta get to know him. He is the light. He is the answer. He is my source of everything good, actually. But yeah, thank you guys for being here, man. I just pray that this will touch somebody out there to get better, to work on themselves, to self-improve, and better themselves so that they can serve better in their community and wherever they want to serve. Anyway, you guys, thank y'all for being here. Y'all have a great night. Enjoy this little exit video and this cool little music we got going on. God bless y'all. Peace. Have a good night.